Hey everybody, going to be doing a quick look here at Emblem Corp. They've got an IPO upcoming, hearing different dates, the 28th and the 30th. I think the 30th is more accurate, but either way, we can expect it next week. And this is going to be a really, really hot IPO in my opinion. So on the TSX Ventures, the ticker is EMC, and it will be dual listed on the OTC for the United States at EMMCF. Not sure if this ticker is going to get going right when EMC does. There might be a little bit of a delay there. So depending on how you're establishing your game plan, you might want to be trading the Canadian ticker. And if you are a Fidelity member, you can do that. I know a lot of brokers don't allow you to. Fidelity is one that you can, and you have to call them and have your account set up for foreign exchange trading. I just did that the other day, and it seems fairly easy enough. There's a couple little differences. The commission's a bit more, and you do pay 1% right out of the gate to get that money transferred from US dollars into Canadian dollars. But if that gives you the opportunity to buy EMC and say EMMCF were to lag behind by an hour or something, that might be worth it. So something to consider. And why I think that this IPO is going to be so hot is obviously the Canadian sector is exploding. Now we see very significant pullbacks the past 3 days, 35% almost in the past 2 days in a lot of these tickers. And you might be thinking, oh man, are people going to buy this IPO? Yes. In my opinion, smart money is locking in profits from the explosion to the upside in those other tickers, and they're trying to put their money to work. They're going to be looking for the next play, and it's right here. It is this IPO. It's one of 30 licensed producers in Canada. It is much smaller than a lot of the other names in terms of market cap, but that is going to give them the opportunity, obviously, for expansion. And in my opinion, fundamentals don't really matter in this environment. And like I said, as you probably know by now, I came from the United States and the boom that occurred over the past 6 years there, boom and bust. And the amount of times that I saw fundamentals mean absolutely nothing in valuations of companies, hype trumps everything. Hype is a bigger deal, and in my opinion, the sector has the hype, and now there's a lot of accounts with fresh cash just sitting there waiting to be put to work, and I think this IPO is a really good place for it to go. So let's look at the company. It's got 3 divisions: Emblem Cannabis, GrowWise Health, and Emblem Pharmaceuticals. Emblem Cannabis is where they're growing it. It specializes in high-quality, high-margin product, and they're really looking to be able to replicate a medicine time and time again for exact dosage and having the highest quality standards. I'm sure you've heard that all before. But they've got 3 buildings on 4.1 acres in Paris, Ontario. They're in the middle of Phase 2, which is set for ending in February, and after that they expect to have $17 million a year in product, and they have invested $11 million in infrastructure so far at this point. There's then going to be a Phase 3 of building, and even after that there will still be 50% of the land usable and not built up yet. So the production cost after Phase 2 is anticipated to be 2.08 grams, and they do anticipate after Phase 3 that the scalability will cause those costs to go down even further. Next, we've got GrowWise Health, and this is an education-based venture. It's a joint venture with White Cedar Pharmacy. They operate in 7 medical clinics and 1 standalone clinic, and they plan to open an additional 22 clinics. And the goal here is to bridge the gap between the patients and the product, the medicine, and giving information, reaching the target market while being in these medical clinics. Obviously, that's the best place to reach the patients, and really approaching it from a more pharmaceutical standpoint. And that is because their president has a lot of experience in the pharmaceutical industry, which we'll look at in just a moment here. But that is their angle, and I think it could have some exciting implications. And I want to say again, I'm a trader. I don't really care about the fundamentals at this point. I will trade the IPO, take my profit, and get out. That's my game plan. And I'll keep an eye on the fundamentals and watch the growth of the companies. But after watching this all play out in the U.S., and I do know it's a completely different environment legally, but I want to take my profit when I have it. And I'm fine leaving profit on the table compared to losing money. So I will be trading this IPO. Just want to make that very clear. So Emblem Pharmaceuticals, this is the 3rd branch, and what is potentially going to set them apart from at least some of these licensed producers. In the second half of 2017, they plan to launch cannabinoid-based medications such as liquids, gel caps, oral sprays, inhalers. Their president, John Stewart, has 30 years in the pharmaceutical industry. He's launched 11 new products, including OxyContin, Oxycontin, and was the worldwide president and CEO of Purdue Pharma, the largest privately held pharmaceutical company in the world. So this guy is used to dealing with billions of dollars, and he had the foresight to realize that cannabinoids were therapeutic and medicinal, and now he is looking to jump all over this venture and create products, again, that are able to be replicated in exact dosages and then prescribed to specific ailments. And that's where the second branch comes in, Grow Wise Health, for really giving education to the patients for what they need for their specific ailments. So some more details. Fundraising in September, they raised money. They were planning for $3 million. They got very overprescribed, or oversubscribed, I should say. I guess I had the pharmaceuticals on the brain. But it is oversubscribed, and that means that pretty much there's a lot more demand than there is for supply of shares. And they ended up raising $5 million rather than $3 million because people wanted so many shares. And that's exactly what people want to see on an IPO. You want to see oversubscribed because that means the price is going to go up. Demand is far greater than supply, and it's a really good environment for the bulls. So we have EMC on the TSX, EMMCF on the OTC. They have been purchasing oil extraction equipment, and they've invested $1 million into that division. And that's when you have a lot of flower and product on hand. What do you do with it? You extract all the cannabinoids into a concentrated form. CBD oil is going to be big. Being able to separate CBD oil from all the different cannabinoids can make specific medicines, which is exactly what they're trying to do. So they're creating value-added products with these lozenges and sprays and all those things that they look to have out within a year. So the executives have invested over $6 million of their own money, and there are currently over 1,000 shareholders. So we'll look at the breakdown of the share structure here, this next slide. But knowing that the executives are heavily invested, obviously, there's a lot of motivation for success. The market cap is set to be 90 million, fully diluted with all warrants and options pre-IPO. So obviously that's a lot smaller than Canopy that hit $1 billion recently with their spike in share price. So this is what's important, the basic structure of the shares. We've got all this 38 million shares already owned by people. The vast majority owned at 50 cents, 24.5 million. So essentially, they're going to be hitting 200% right out of the gate at the open. So we can anticipate some shares are going to be sold, people locking in their profit that got in early. And 38 million shares combined with the 14 million offered for the IPO is going to put us around 52 million shares. Now, there are warrants as well. There's 7 million warrants that can be executed at 1.75. And there's different little details about when these warrants can be executed. So feel free to read up on that. Not going to read that whole list. But there are shares that can be added here to increase the share structure. But as of right now, we're looking at about 50 million shares, low 50, mid 50 million shares. And then once those warrants get executed, we'll be looking up at 60 and potentially 70 million. But the value of the companies, as you can see here, Emblem is certainly smaller than the rest, and that doesn't mean that it is undervalued because obviously all the assets and all the financials are being factored into those numbers. But what it tells me is there is room for this stock price to run, and not before people say, oh, it's way overvalued, it's going to crash. We could go up to a few hundred million before people start to think it's getting a little bit frothy. So knowing that there's going to be, let's say, 55 million shares, we can anticipate that at $1, there'll be 55 million valuation. And at $2, we'll be looking at 110 million valuation market cap and up from there. So that's just a really rough idea to get what the market cap of the company will be. But we're looking for an open around 150 to $2. I think they estimated it around 125 originally, but I think there's going to be a lot more demand, and we're going to see it open up closer towards $2 come the first trading day, which I do believe is going to be around the 30th. So certainly very excited. And again, why I'm excited is obviously the Canadian sector is booming. There's a lot of cash in people's accounts that have been taking profit. I think the smartest money was taking profit on this run in the Canadian names and is now going to be going into this IPO because it's fresh, it's never traded, and I think it's going to see a nice spike in the first week of trading. So that remains to be seen. And the nice $2 price point, the nice $1.50, whatever it opens at, these traders are familiar, traders and investors, with these price points, because all these names before their explosion up into the $5, $10 range were all down in the $1 to $2 range. So rather than having an NYSE $20 IPO with, hundreds of millions of dollars in terms of market cap, we're looking down at a $2 company, a lot more comfortable for all these traders and investors that are going to be very interested. And judging by the amount of views that my video have been getting, comparing these Canadian videos to any other video with stock technical analysis that I do, it's uncomparable, the amount of interest. So looking very much forward to this. I'm going to have a lot of cash. You need to have settled cash. So I'm sitting here not trading because the last thing I want to do is have unsettled cash and not be ready for this IPO, because I'm excited and I'm going to be trading it with multiple blocks. And again, I'll be quick to lock in my profit. I'll probably lock in a chunk on day 1, a chunk on day 2, so on and so forth. I am not investing in this sector at this point. And that's because I'm a trader. I don't know if I'll ever invest in it. I like being cash overnight. So preparation checklist, and you've probably seen this before, but these are questions that need to be answered before the IPO day. Otherwise, you are flying blind and you're trading based on your emotions. You need to know how much money you are playing with. How much are you going to be buying? Are you going to buy all at once or in multiple chunks? I know I'm going to be buying in multiple chunks, different positions. I know if I'm going to be buying at the open or waiting for things to settle. I know the most I want to lose on this trade is X, so after my entry, I will put a stop loss to ensure it. Now, because I'm trading through Fidelity, if I'm choosing the Canadian ticker, I cannot put a stop loss, so I have to be watching the market tick for tick, and I have to have a sell order filled out, and you can only do limit or market orders. So in that scenario, I have my sell order filled out, and all it takes for me to do is press one button and get out of my position. The sell target, you want to know at what price you're looking to sell at, and the amount of time that you would like to be holding for. Are you trading this day trading? Are you swing trading it for a week? Are you investing for a year? All of these questions need to be answered before IPO day. So certainly looking forward to it. Going to keep an eye out for further information. And hopefully this gave a little bit of preparation. By no means stop here with your research. Dig deeper. Find out more information if you want. Check out the different branches of the company. Look at the President Jon Stewart's history. What did he do in the past? How did his companies run in the past? And that's that. I hope you have a great life.